In a bland industry, how do you stand out? Let's talk about that today with Alexis Allen, an associate FA at the Teixeira Loughran group of UBS and the host of Dreaming Big. Thanks for being here today. I'm so glad we could make this happen.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to speaking with you more about dreaming big and about being an advisor.
The legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Mitch Slater, I think initially made our connection because he is the guy I know in charge at UBS of inspiring advisors to get themselves out there. And you were doing exactly that. Tell me about your show.
The background and inspiration behind Dreaming Big really was because it grew out of conversations I was already having with founders and operators in my network. My background is in the venture space and working in tech and working with a number of founders in different capacities, and realizing that so many of the conversations I was naturally having that would be really useful to other founders, either who are currently building or are inspired to build. And so I also noticed that entrepreneurs often feel, isolated in a very specific way, where they feel like they may be one of the few that are building in this space, and having lessons and learnings from founders who have come before them could be really helpful. And so it really has been a wonderful community where I've reached out to a number of individuals who I know and now have the opportunity to have a platform to share other stories for other individuals. And so naturally, given the private markets are an exciting ecosystem and an exciting space to be working with individuals in, it's really given me a fantastic platform to share those conversations more broadly and also interact with founders who I may not have otherwise.
Let me pull up one of your LinkedIn posts with one of your featured guests from Dreaming Big. Do you find when you go and ask these founders to do interviews, do you get a warm reception or are they ever hesitant?
For the most part, it's really warm. Entrepreneurs naturally wake up every day and are excited about what they're building. And so the opportunity to share more about their story is always a positive. And so, for instance, Lizzie Liebnay, who's an amazing founder, has this incredible background that actually really fostered what she's already built. And so the opportunity to have some sort of long forum opportunity to share more about her background, why she's building in the space that she's building in, the challenges and successes that she's had is really phenomenal. And what's really exciting is that a number of these founders have opportunities that they would love to have more marketing behind. And so whether it's a product launch or they're fundraising or they're thinking about exiting their business, this is a really great way for them to be able to share their story in a longer form, differentiated way. So for the most part, they're really excited to talk about what they're building and excited to have it in a conversational format.
What have you discovered as a financial advisor in the interview space when you've got a guest and you're trying to pull the best story out of them? How do you prepare, and any techniques you would share with other advisors?
I think being an advisor, there's, the biggest part about it is building trust. And so building trust with your clients, building trust with your team. And so the same goes for this, which is building a level of trust with these entrepreneurs so that they're able to share with you some of the things that may not be as shiny and wonderful as they usually are talking about. And so having them open up and be vulnerable is something that I found to be the most interesting conversations come from that. And I could say the same goes for, when working with clients, which is really the depth that you have in the relationships come from your clients trusting you. And so I find a lot of those same techniques to come in the conversations that I have over the podcast. So it's about doing the research ahead of time, understanding where they're coming from and their backgrounds, and how that applies to what they want to do in the future. So I think there's a lot of interesting overlaps, and so much of it is just a natural curiosity that I've always had in this space and working with individuals, that it's been really fun to be able to do that through a podcast.
Let's talk about this particular post for your podcast. And it stuck out to me because though I love video, this particular post isn't technically a video, but it really is something that's going to get people engaged on LinkedIn because it's designed to click through and give you sort of a little flavor of what's happening in the episode. What are you finding works best for the different kinds of content you're posting on LinkedIn right now?
There's a number of ways to showcase events, conversations, and really amplify other people's stories. And I've found that the carousel works nicely for podcasts, that if you are, scrolling through your LinkedIn when you're commuting or, walking around, it's easier to click through than necessarily listen to something with sound. And so giving a mix of audio and visual has been helpful. And I think that the carousels work really nicely because there are some really punchy snippets that are able to be conveyed in a matter of seconds when you glance at this, versus listening to perhaps a long form video or a long form podcast. And so this was a fun way to showcase a couple of Margaret's amazing answers to some of the questions that I've asked her, and really be able to pull out the key themes rather than potentially listening to the whole podcast. So I think having a mix of them is really important. And that's why I've gone back and forth between audiograms and video, and also the carousel, which has worked really nicely to give people a snippet. And then ideally they'll click into the full conversation and podcast to listen to her whole story.
Let me ask you the ROI question, because this comes up all the time with FAs thinking about, is this just a whole nother side gig that I'm having to create for myself, or is this going to positively impact my business?
I can confidently say that it has developed a new business, which I feel really great about. And candidly, a lot of it is because these conversations, while I was having naturally originally, the conversations that we have before and after the actual recording is also where a lot of the depth comes into play, which is we now talked about their business. They are excited to share more broadly, and then I get to ask them about themselves.
I had a note that 3 prospects reached out to you on LinkedIn and became clients. Is that
yes? Yes, it is. LinkedIn has been a pretty phenomenal driver of business for me. I think really what comes down to is consistency and authenticity. The consistency in posting on a regular basis has made me top of mind for a number of people throughout the time that I have been part of the Teixeira Loughran group. And the fact that I usually am not posting necessarily about the markets, but talking about the events that I'm attending, the podcasts that I'm producing, and stories about others, and really amplifying what they're doing across the dimensions of entrepreneurship, successful females that are building, and philanthropy. That's been a really helpful driver in helping attract clients that will resonate with my focus areas and ideally support them in whatever they're doing in their dreams.
Great advice, Alexis. And remember, if Alexis can do it, you can do it too. And if you need help building authority and growing your practice with video, that's what we do at Idea Decanter.